Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back. So in the first half you saw how serious this topic is today, brothers and sisters, but alhamdulillah, before we went to the break, I didn't want you to go to the break in a somber and thinking what's it all worth? What's the point of it all? So we had that video now, mashallah, which Night Mania is a very, very, very exciting concept, and it's the possible answer for getting our children off the street. So Asif, your Islamic network, tell us a little bit about Night Mania. Where did it come from and how has it benefited the young ummah?
Sure. So Islamic Network is the organization and we have a number of projects. So one of the projects is revolving around youth, because we see that there's a big problem with the youth and them not being close to Allah and to the Deen. Because the whole nature of Islamic Network is to focus on people who are not so practicing and get them more committed to the Deen. So one of the issues that we came across is the youth. So Night Mania is an event that we do in different masjids all around the country. We were in Manchester around 4 weeks ago. We were in Ireland a couple of weeks ago. And we've done it in many masjids in London also. We've done around 40 Night Manias in the last couple of years. And this is an event which lasts around 10 hours, from 8 o'clock to about 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning. And we have various activities. We have a youth from the age of 13 to 25, and we do a number of activities throughout the whole of the night, such as football, dodgeball, and tug of war. But between some of these activities, we give pizza to the youth, and we also have a number of reminders. But the main, or one of the most important or beneficial elements of this event is an opportunity to sit down with a sheikh who's got some experience with the youth, and this is basically the one-on-one question and answer.
This is fantastic, this one-to-one, and I want to make sure that we're going to focus on that just for a minute or two. But before that, we're going to introduce our guest and soon to be, I hope, a part of Deen Matters on a regular basis. Brothers and sisters, you may know him as Ali Dawa. We also know him as Ali Dawa. Assalamu alaikum. So brother, we, as you know, in the first part, we spoke about the problem, right? And we had a call just by brother Hamza from Wimbledon, who spoke about the fact that the Muslims, they need a cause, the young Muslims, they don't have a cause. And also he said, like, what was the other word he used? A passion, right? There's not enough passion going. So, we want to discuss that, Ali, and then even in future subsequent episodes of Deen Matters, you're going to be going out as well, aren't you? You're going to be speaking to the people on the streets, and you're going to be, and the youth essentially. And subhanAllah, I know it's going to be really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because that's the whole point. We want to go out there and speak to the youth. This is what the problem is. A lot of people, we have a lot of mashallah sheikhs and scholars out there. They're doing their job, may Allah bless them. But it's all, we don't want people out there and it's just like that's haram, 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 haram. But it's about explaining to them. That's why we want to go to the youth and interact with them. Instead of going and saying, hey, this is haram. Explain things to them, interact with them. And our whole purpose with the brothers that are involved in dawah, the brothers next to me and my whole team is to make, practicing, not, because what it is when you look to the youth today, the stuff that's sinful and it's made so glamorous, nice, so they're looking up to it. And unfortunately, what makes it worse is if we said, okay, they're making that glamorous, they're making that glamorous, but at home, at least the father, the parents, the Muslim friends are trying to make Islam look glamorous, but it's not. The families are making it much more worse. When it comes to marriage, culture comes first. It's not Islam, it's culture comes first. So they're making it harder and harder on the youth. What we want to do is we want to relate to the youth and say, look, I'm young, you're young. Yeah, I still feel young, by the way. You're young. Look, just because I'm practicing, for example, doesn't mean, for example, I can't look nice, I can't have fun, I can't go on holidays, can't have a weekend out with my friends, with the boys. It doesn't mean that, because they have this perception in their head, practicing is such a boring thing. It's not boring, This is what I always say when I'm out and about, I give reminders, look, we're out with the boys, but we're just going to pray salah. Straight after salah, we're going to go bowling. So what it is just to interact with the youth and say, look, it is fun. You can be practicing and be fun. And this is the main thing that we really need to concentrate on. And like I said before, we're planning on working together, go out there and hear the youth's voice, what they really want.
And so I'm going to take this call, but brothers and sisters, before I take this call, we've sat down, we have some fantastic topics which are really, I don't know what to say about these topics, but you'll find out slowly but surely. But let's take this call first, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, caller.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother, what's your name, where are you calling from?
Ahmed, calling from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, mashallah. Does anyone know Ahmed?
No,
Sorry?
not,
Good. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a setup call that we was expecting that call. Jazakallah khair for calling in, Brother Ahmed. So, what's your question or point, bro?
Well, I just think that what the young man just said there, he's hit the nail on the head about just relaxing a little bit and not being so caught up in this idea that, well, if I'm practicing, that means I can't do this and I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not we're not a puritanical faith, and we know that the middle path is the path you should always tread upon.
Yeah.
I think also it might be a good idea if the youth got to know a little bit more about the other prophets that existed in Islam and some of the parables of the Prophet Yusuf al-Islam, and the temptation that was put in front of him with the Pharaoh's wife, and how he handled that, and how he dealt with these things. You know, these are perennial issues inherent within human beings, temptation, lust, etc., etc. And I think, you know, the way, for example, of particular people of a particular generation, let's say the 70s and 60s, they were brought up in a more puritanical way, possibly with the stick, of being enforced that you won't do this and you won't do that, and you're not going to be chatting to this person, you're not going to be chatting to that person. I mean, one of the things that I think also helps a lot, personally helped me a lot, is if there's a way of getting young people out to Makkah, right, to build up their taqwa, because once your taqwa is built up, actually very strong, once your relationship with God is very strong, actually, that's the thing that actually, when you're really close to temptation, that's the thing that kicks in and pulls you back. What do you think?
Yeah.
no, definitely, 100% agree, bro. Like, you know,
Yeah, fantastic.
no, definitely.
In actual fact, just to add to that, one of the obstacles that we face in having these night manias in different masjids is that we're looking to take night mania even to Pakistan. I mean, we've had requests from Pakistan, and one of the problems is that we couldn't host a night mania in the masjid in Pakistan and we're looking to hire out halls instead. And one of the reasons is because the masjid is considered to be so sacred. It's almost as though that, you know, you can't have any fun in the masjid. You know, subhanAllah, if you look at the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, you'll find that the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they would be doing archery in the masjid. They would, after Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba would ask the Prophet ﷺ to interpret their dreams, and some of the dreams were so funny that they would actually roll around on the ground laughing. You know, if we were to laugh loudly in the masjid, you know, this would be like, you know, sacrilegious almost in the masjid. And even when some youth come into the masjid, you know, you actually find that if they start talking or something, some uncle will come up and he will basically tell the youth, you know, keep quiet. But what he doesn't realize, I know I'm not necessarily blaming the uncles at all, because there's a generation and we have to catch up with this generation. When I did the night mania, wallahi, Muhammad was there. You know, it was almost as though these youth that were in front of me, I couldn't understand what they're saying. They were saying stuff like brap brap, bullet bullet, and all these kind of words. But at the end of it, I actually came closer to them, and I was able to relate to them, and I was able to understand their language, if you like. You know, and this is a problem. This is a generational problem. And you know, the key thing that Brother Ali mentioned is that the best people to give da'wah to the youth are the youth themselves. You know, they can relate. If you can relate to people. The Prophet ﷺ, he was an Arab, he was sent to the Arabs, you know, and he was from their people initially. And so once you have someone with this, it's all about rapport and relations. If you have a good relationship with someone, then they'll listen to you.
I want to make sure.
Just to touch on one thing that he said, the Sheikh said as well, is with the youth. I went to a masjid once. And when it came to time for Salah, everyone was getting up, and you know, you try to promote the youth. So I said to them, "Oh, you guys come quick to the front row," and they got up, and a couple of them started running to the front, and you know, it was just trying to get to the front row, not the first row, but the second row at least. And as soon as I stood there, I had two youth to my left, one to my right, and then a couple of others scattered. And then one of the older uncles, he was like, "No, get to the back, get to the back." I was like pushing him to the back. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, these are going to be the imams of tomorrow. These are going to be the guys that run in this masjid tomorrow. What do you mean, get to the back?" It's like, "No, they're always talking, they're always making fun." I was like, they know what Salah is, they're going to pray. Don't push them away. If you push them away and treat them like that from now in the masjid, they're not going to want to come to the masjid when they're older.
Exactly.
What I want to make sure that we don't do today, brothers, is forget the very important point you were going to make about the one-to-one in the masjid. Right? But before we do that, I want to thank the brother that called in just now as well, because that was a really good input, mashallah. And also just to remind everyone that we know that it has to start from a young age, doesn't it? Right, to get the whole culture. When the brother mentioned passion, Hamza in the first call, passion and the cause. And you know that the only way you can do that is from a young age. We've got another call, subhanAllah, but what I want to say is, you ask the young children, right, 5 years old, 6 years old, you ask them, name me 2 superheroes, right? And they're gonna say Batman, they're gonna say Superman or whatever. And then you're gonna say like, well, these are just fictitious superheroes. What about the real superheroes? And then you start to tell them tales of the Sahabas and the Prophets, and their mouths would open. And if they can get to spend more time with that learning, then it's a start, isn't it?
Yes,
SubhanAllah.
definitely.
Let's take this call though, yeah, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jazakallah khair for calling. What's your name? Where you calling from, brother?
Rahib, I'm calling from Southampton.
Southampton, mashallah. Jazakallah khair for calling in. What's your question or point, bro?
I just, it's not a question, but I'd just like to say that this program is like actually informative, and I would like to make dua for you, and you can make dua for us as well.
Jazakallah
So,
khair.
Jazakallah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah khair for that beautiful call. And brother Asif can make the dua at the end for us, inshallah. So get it in your mind what you're going to say. Jazakallah khair, a very, very, very special call, and I love calls like that. You can more, keep them coming. Brother Asif, please, the one-to-one.
Sure.
What's so important about this one-to-one thing is that the youth, they got things on their mind, and they're trapped in things that I mentioned earlier on. So, give us some examples.
Sure. So throughout this whole night, we have something called Night Mania during this event. And I just want to emphasize, I don't want the viewers to think that we're only talking about the problems of youth and they're only for boys, because there are problems amongst girls as well.
Yes.
And we do actually have a, no pun intended, sister project. And we have Night Manias for the boys, which is in the night time. We also have Crazier for the girls, which is also in the daytime. But the hub or the heart of the Night Mania or the Crazier is where there's a qualified sheikh or sheikha, and she's got or he has got experience dealing with the youth. And this is an opportunity for the youth to ask whatever question that they want. And there's 2 rules to this. The first rule is that there's no such thing as a silly question. You can ask whatever you want. No bars hold. And then the second thing is that it will be completely confidential. So the sheikh will not mention this to anyone at all. And some of the questions that I've received and some of the other sheikhs have received is absolutely, incredible. Wallahi, at this age, I never even thought of these kind of questions. Questions of a sexual nature, questions of, and we're talking about 13, 14-year-old boys, sometimes.
Questions that they're not asking their parents.
They're too embarrassed to ask their question. They're too embarrassed to ask the Imam Sahib, because the Imam Sahib will probably tell their parents, right? So there has to be some kind of confidentiality. Questions related to, clubbing and these kind of things. And just to mention just a couple of examples of the success stories of Night Mania. There's one brother, he thought he was coming to a nightclub. When he saw the poster, because the poster of Night Mania looks like, you're going clubbing or something. He found himself in front of a masjid and he was thinking, what is this place? Oh, I might as well just go in. I made the effort. So he went into the masjid and he was involved in Night Mania. And one of the key things about the solutions is changing the environment. The man who killed 99 people, the scholar told him, go to another land where you will be amongst pious people and leave your friends. So this changing the environment, being around the right types of people is really important. So Night Mania actually facilitates that. So what happened is that through this night, and he made some friends, a person who didn't used to pray, who used to go night clubbing every single week, after a number of months, around 10 or 11 months, he became so committed to the Quran and to coming closer to Allah that he ended up becoming a hafiz of Quran. This is just one of many examples or success stories that this Night Mania can actually become a turning point in someone's life.
That is a success story that we love to hear, brother, subhanAllah. Let's take another call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Oh, hello, assalamu alaikum. Can I speak to you, Brother Ali, if that's okay?
Brother Ali, yes?
Yeah. Hi, assalamu alaikum, Brother Ali. I just want to say, literally just want to say thank you so much for what you do. Like me and my friends, we all watch, we follow you on YouTube, and your videos and everything is just, it's really taken to account. It's like myself, I actually live in a very small community where we don't actually have many Muslims here, and our community is very, very small, and it's, to be honest, we're more filled with non-Muslims, and it's so hard, to sort of interact with our Muslim brothers and sisters and learn about Islam, and just videos where it's not always teaching about haram, no. And there's so much positivity out there, and it really does make a difference. It really is just appreciation call to say that you keep on doing what you're doing, and it's brilliant.
Thank you, sister.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you very much for that call, mashallah.
Yeah.
So, Ali, you were going to say something?
Yeah, basically, obviously, I want to thank you, the sister, for their kind words. And obviously, all praises belong to Allah, because at the end of the day, we can't do nothing with this without His permission. And I thank Allah for obviously putting me with beautiful brothers, because at the end of the day, friendship is really important. If I didn't have the friends in the team that I had today, when I'm down, they support me. When they're down, I support them. We wouldn't be where we are today. And like I said, all praises belong to Allah. And that's what we want to do with the youth. Allah, it's just the brother just said it himself as well. One day we're at the masjid. We're just joking around, but brother's just doing a bit of a handstand or something like that. But he couldn't even do it properly. He was falling on his head all the time. Just comes and we get stopped. Well, the thing is, this is what I'm saying. The outside world is glamorizing.
Yes.
Over here, we're cutting boundaries. You can't do this. You can't do that. So sometimes I get youth coming up to saying, "Aki, what should I do?" He's looking at me. He's like, "What should I do? What do you want me to do? This haram, that haram. I want to get married the halal way. I can't do it. Oh, because she's, for example." My parents say no, it has to be from our culture, etc. So what it is, we really, this is our concentration that we want to do, is relate to them. It's not just about haram. We show them, look, do something for the sake of the love of Allah. If you go and say to someone, your daughter, wear the hijab. Why? Wear the hijab. What are they going to understand? Okay, you put the veil over their head, but their character, is it going to change? No, because they don't understand what the hijab is.
Even if someone was to wear that hijab because her dad told her so, what will happen as soon as the dad's gone?
Take off.
Then the hijab's gone off.
Yes.
That's why you have many sisters who they will wear hijab out when they're out of their families. But then you see them later on without the hijab on.
Same.
And it's like when you let them know that they're wearing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah. No, of course, it goes the same with the brother. And we're going to touch up on this regarding the matter of hijab. Because hijab is not just for sisters, it's for men as well. I see a lot of brothers with their trousers on the floor. Like, are you mopping the floor? What are you doing? It's a bit funny. But we're going to touch up on this in the future topics as well. But it's just, we just want to relate to the youth and say, look, I'm alhamdulillah, I try to dress up nice, brothers does. We all do. You can, go out there, do halal things, have halal fun. And this is the main thing that I really want to push out there.
And the very important thing to push out also is the fact that there may be a haram, but there's so many halal alternatives.
Yes, of course. But the thing is, they concentrate on haram so much. It's like when you say something before you open your mouth, like, is it haram? Like it's just programmed. So that's what we want to do and say, look, there is this option, that option. You can do this. How about you do this? It's just instead of saying haram, it's just another way of saying, instead of doing this, how about we do? Like, do you get it?
Yeah,
so he's just like, okay, why not?
And there's so many more halals than there are haram.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, listen,
and everything that's haram is haram for a reason. There's a saying from one of the earlier scholars where he said, take heed from the lessons of those before you become lessons for those after you. I mean, that's what we try to do, inshallah, with the youth.
Let's take this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Walaikum salam wa barakatuh, brother.
Sister, where are you calling from?
North London.
Okay, mashallah, London, cool. You have a question or a point to make?
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of throw something out there really a bit, and wanted to sort of bring to the platform this whole idea that, I think Brother Asif spoke about how we need to also do something for the sisters, and that, I think that then it needs to sort of be understood that obviously we've got, in our youth communities, that we've got, the girls and the boys, and we do need to make sure that we're catering for the needs of all the community. And I think something like Crazier, which I was sort of, mashallah, happy to be part of, and had the privilege to be there, the one that we did do in Munster. That it was a huge success, and the young people, the young people that came, mashallah, it was a platform for them to be able to speak, to have a voice. And I think there needs to be an Islamic narrative for our shabab, for the youth.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that, especially, our sisters, we've got a lot of, confusion out there with identity crisis and fashion and how they fit into the society, how they function in the current society, the way it is with, being a part of, this culture of being a Muslim in Britain today, and keeping a hold of their deen, really. And I think Ali said that raise your children for a time that isn't here yet. And I think if we look at our young people, the question is how is it that we're going to do that? How are we going to get them to understand, you know, that as a community, as Muslims, we are here for them. You know, we're, you know, all the adults, we're here for them. We are happy to listen to them. We want a dialogue. And, you know, we're inviting them back into the masjid. And I think this is a brilliant idea, mashallah, subhanallah.
Sister, Jazakallah khair, fantastic call. And on that topic, on that point, should I say, it's coming back to what Ali said and what you've mentioned as well earlier. So, Asif, we're going to challenge you with this one, yeah?
Sure.
So, night mania, by night, fun, enjoyment, do what you want. But by the daytime in the masjid, no fun. So how are we going to combat that? Because obviously that means that, you know, you've mentioned the examples of the Prophet ﷺ and having enjoyment in the masjid, but we can't have that today. So what are we going to do to tackle this?
Sure. Alhamdulillah, things haven't got as bad as, you know, other countries. So for instance, they have a project in America called Unmosqued. I'm not sure whether people have actually heard of this. And they're basically doing projects or activities, but in a neutral venue, because they don't want things to happen in the masjid. We don't necessarily agree with this, and it hasn't really got that bad for us. We conduct night manias in the masjid. And I think it's just breaking barriers. I think, you know, I don't want to criticize masjids. I don't want to criticize, you know, the older generation for the way that, you know, perhaps that it's been perceived. But it's just like we're breaking barriers with the youth, we also have to break barriers with, you know, people who are older than us as well, and explain to them the major problems that youth are going through. A lot of these problems that we're discussing are related to desires. They're about girlfriends. They're talking, you know, regarding drugs. It's about alcohol. It's about clubbing. But there are other problems as well that the youth are facing, which are far worse than this, and that is doubts in Islam. Yeah. You get youth talking about, you know, questioning the existence of Allah, questioning whether Islam is really the correct path, the correct religion. Yeah. So, you know, we have to, you know, relate to the youth, as we also have to be able to learn how to communicate and relate to the elders as well. And we have to come together to be able to open up our masjids. For that, to know that the masjids are not just there for the prayers, but we also have to realize that it's a center of the community, it's a hub of the community where everyone from all types of walks of life, they come together and they pray and they do activities which are fun. We do some serious activities also. So it's a hodgepodge of many things, and that's what the masjid should represent.
Muhammad, what would you like to see in the masjid? You're there, like Ali, like, you know, at the same level with the youth in terms of, like, you know, you can relate to them. What do you think we need to have in the masjid that's going to get them in there?
I think one of the main things to give the youth would be more responsibility in the masjid. Give them more of a role in the masjid. Give them some activities. Have basically more involvement. I mean, if you have a position or if you have volunteers needed, get them in. You know, unfortunately, sometimes we focus more on fundraising or focus more on other parts or departments or areas of the masjid. But we don't focus so much on how to show the youth that we're here as well. Do you know what I mean? There's many times for the youth for Eid. How many masajid actually do something? Not just for the little kids where there's a little bouncy castle or things like that. MashaAllah, Mubarak, may Allah bless everyone for doing that. I mean, for the older ones, run out some pool tables. Run out some activities which they can actually relate to. Have a talk, have an event, have anything to pull them in. Throughout the years, get them to regularly volunteer or have some incentives there for them even, so that they can get more involved in the masjids. Maybe some work placements. I've got some youth as well, and this is something, not, you know, it's positive criticism, but they told me, you know, when we come to the masjid, you know, this person, he starts talking to us like some hood. Do you know what I mean? Talk to us the way that, do you know what I mean? If a brother comes up to you and he's got a fully grown beard and he's like, Wagwan, and they're like, we laugh at it, man, because we know that's not you. Don't show us how we are outside. Because you know what it's like when we don't want that.
Cut you that. That's fantastic. Ali, and what about you, bro? I mean, in terms of...
to be honest, there's not much to say. The brother said it all. But me personally, like I said, you need to communicate with the youth. Me personally, we do dawah. Alhamdulillah, a lot of people come to Islam. Islam is the fastest growing religion. This is a fact out there. But what it is what we're realizing is there's a lot of people coming to Islam. But when we look back, we've got a lot of youth, like the brother said, that having doubts about Islam. So Saturdays, for example, every Saturday I go to Stratford. It's mainly Muslim. I go there, talk to the youth, give cards, and I invite them on Facebook. I say, look, I'm in Stratford today. If you have a doubt about Islam, etc., come and talk to me. It's totally fine. Do you get it? Yeah. So it's interacting, so they feel comfortable. Come and talk to us, interact with us, etc. And I think this is really important, talking to them on their level, joke around with them. It's not all serious.
Jazakallah khair. Ali, Muhammad, Brother Asif as well. We're going to leave you, brothers and sisters, but please, you can continue this conversation on Facebook, Deen Matters, I think it's Deen Matters Show on Facebook. Also, you can send us emails, deenmatters at IQRA.tv. And what else is there? Twitter, you have the Twitter as well. And before we go, brothers and sisters, just to sum it up, I want you to make sure that you demand that there be a night mania in your area, in your masjid. Go and ask them, why isn't this thing happening here? SubhanAllah, make sure you demand it. And also, fathers, lighten up a little bit, loosen up on your children, but don't compromise the deen, but lighten up, okay? Because then maybe you will be the one that they'll be confiding in, and not the beloved brothers like this. Jazakallah khair. See you soon, inshallah. Don't leave us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.